We'll try the first. Oh my god. So,
Go get another chair.
the other chairs are the squeaky ones. That's why we got these.
Alright, whatever. So we're gonna, squeaks and all, we're gonna play some music for you, and thank you so much for tuning in. Silas and I, you know, we have sat in with each other's bands a few times, but
Many times.
we don't play as a duo very often, so hopefully this will be something really special just for you all that came out of this quarantining time.
Because we have no other choice.
It's our last resort. All right. But yeah, we got some cool tunes. This first one is gonna be on my new album coming out June 28th, and it's called Land of the Living. And I return to the land of the living.
Give me something I can belong to. Give me something I can believe. Can't trust every song that you hear. 'Cause some singers just won't never bleed. Remember when the DJs on the radio used to play the songs they thought you need to know. Nothing on the FM, nothing on the AM. Nothing in the AM, nothing in the PM. Give me a song with soul. Give me something I can't stand up on. Give me something not written for sale. I need an analog cure for this very digital world. Remember when the DJs on the radio used to play the songs that thought you need to know. Remember when MTV played videos. Remember everything we learned at record stores. Nothing on the FM, nothing on the AM. Nothing in the AM and nothing in the PM. Give me a song with soul. Give me a song with soul.
Did you like my shaker solo?
I loved
We
it.
have one moment.
Hey, if anyone out there, this is the first time, so we've done a few streams, Eleanor and I, but not together. And the other one of us, whoever's not streaming, is always running around checking things, making sure it's working. So if someone out there watching could send us a message if the audio sounds reasonably good, or
And if it doesn't,
if it doesn't,
there's
tell
nothing
us.
we can do.
No, you can tell us. Like, the guitar's too loud. That's a common one with us. Let us know.
It's never the banjo though. We're gonna get a lot of turn the banjo up. I'm sure of it.
I can't actually see the comments from back there. All right, people are saying lots of very nice things.
Yay!
Someone says lost audio. Is it me? Someone else says sounds fine. This is confusing, guys. I'm gonna check in with Instagram. Get yourselves together, Facebook.
Yeah. Figure it out.
There's just a lot of waves. A lot of waves over here. Is anyone else missing audio? All right, Christine. Who are you waving at? Okay. All right. Good. Thank you, guys. We needed that confirmation. Now we can attempt to relax and play music.
Just be musicians. I think we're all getting better at technology since COVID-19 because
We have to.
yeah. So, man, we're getting the deep plunge on technology. All right, we're going to do another song from the new album. This one is called Things Fall Apart. survival of the fit. He's got a hole in his soul, and he's hoping that she fits. Is it better to love blindly or to calculate? She was beaten down by trying, he just walked away. It was a crooked line you walked just a little too straight. It's too much all the time, it's too little or too damn late. Sometimes you can't tell, sometimes you know too well. It's a hard pill to swallow when matters of the heart, but things come together and they fall apart. They fall apart. Sometimes you can't tell, sometimes you know too well. It's a hard pill to swallow with matters of the heart, but things come together and they fall apart. They fall apart. They fall apart. They fall. They There's a sea blowing in the wind. Does it feel at home?
Nice one, Eleanor.
Well, thank you.
It's always the harmonica that sends our dog out of the room.
Yeah, I've heard there's actually there's been a drinking game created where
There's a drinking game.
every time, because why not? It's 3 o'clock on a It's 3 o'clock on a Saturday. That every time our dog Sky enters or exits the frame, you gotta take a shot. It's pretty intense, depending on how much harmonica is played. Because
Yeah, that increases the drinking for sure.
all right, what are we gonna do next?
So we're gonna do another Get Right Band song here, called "Devil on My Shoulder." So, tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing today. We're playing some of Eleanor's original tunes, some of my original tunes, some of which are Get Right Band songs. We're also gonna debut or premiere two completely brand new songs that no one's ever heard before.
Yeah, so awesome.
And then when all that's finished, we're gonna have a musical conversation. I mean, a verbal conversation about music. dueling banjo and guitar. So we have prepared some interview questions for each other, which the other person has not seen and does not know.
I found your paper.
Did you look at it?
No.
Oh, good.
But I read like 3 words and I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to see this.
Yeah. I'm gonna grill you. I'm gonna have some gotcha moments with Eleanor. Not really, but we are gonna just get into a conversation about music and creativity and stuff like that. So that'll be at the very end for anyone who's interested, and anyone who isn't interested.
You can sign off.
You can sign off.
Whenever.
We're getting that.
Thanks for joining us.
Jesse's saying the YouTube channel isn't streaming, FYI. Thank you for letting us know. We failed, basically.
Yeah.
Long story short, we tried.
Yeah.
The audio sounded so terrible on YouTube that we decided to bail on it. Maybe maybe someone can teach us why it sounds terrible on YouTube. But anyways, for now, we're gonna stick to this.
Devil on my shoulder, I got the devil in my head. I got the devil telling me that he wants me dead. I got the devil on my shoulder, I got the devil in my ear. I tell him that I wanna hold on, but that's not what I wanna hear. I guess I'm good as gone, 'cause when the devil wants you so I'm good as gone. I got the devil on my shoulder, I got the devil in my feet. We're dancing to a funeral march and he don't miss a beat. I got the devil on my shoulder, I got the devil in my knees. You try to take me to the other world and he don't say please. I guess I'm good as gone, 'cause when the devil wants you dead, there ain't nothing you can do except to turn to God instead. So I'm good as gone. Sorry lies. I got the devil on my shoulder, I got the devil in my lips. He say he loved me, but I don't believe it. I guess I'm good as gone, 'cause when the devil wants you dead, there ain't nothing you can do except to turn to God instead. So I'm good as gone.
Oh! That's an old song, huh?
That is a very old song. That song goes back to my college days, my college band.
Wow, that's like 20 years ago. I'm just kidding.
Something like that.
No, I was trying to make a joke. but
Close.
It kind of,
It's about right.
It's about right. It's like 50 years ago. All right. Now my chair's getting creaky.
Yeah.
What's up with that? chasing the sun. Blinded by the light. Oh, always on the run. But I never get it right. I've been staring for a while at the sweet swimming decent pick in there.
Thank you. I've had time to practice.
This is the tuning time for me, because we got 3 songs where all of them new songs.
Yeah, we're gonna play.
Yeah.
We're gonna play a couple of new songs that I wrote and a new song that Eleanor wrote. The 2 new ones that I wrote are I think were written during quarantine. They're fresh songs. They're not exactly, I wouldn't say they're about the quarantine or the situation, but they're certainly a tone to them that has something to do with it. The first one, I'm gonna cheat a little bit with some lyrics because it's that new. And
Can't believe you.
when I'm singing lead, if I mess up the words and someone's harmonizing with me, it seems like they messed up because I'm singing lead. My bandmates are, if they're watching, they can relate. They know what it's like when I mess up the words. So I'm gonna try not to.
All right, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Wait. Let me just flip my little cheat sheet over. Okay, I'm ready.
Give me pain that feels good to my brain. We all like what we know is the same. Give me pain so I don't go insane. I don't know how it feels to be alone with my brain. Why not try something new? What have you got to lose? Why not try something new? What are you scared you'll lose? Let me know where else I can go. Don't have to keep walking these same old roads. Let me try to take control of my mind. I know there's peace in there somewhere for me to find. Why not try something new? What have you got to lose? Why not try something new? What are you scared you'll lose? Go on self-destruct. I won't self-destruct. This time I won't self-destruct. I swear I won't self-destruct this time. 'Cause I can try something new. What have I got to lose? Yeah, I can try something new.
Sky, you want to come back to your bed? Come here.
Come on, Sky. We're kind of blocking the entrance to her bed. That's a new song. It's untitled. I don't know what it's called, but we should mention we have a virtual tip jar up there. I know people in past streams have had some people have had a hard time figuring it out, so it should say somewhere up there. But in case it doesn't, you can go to Venmo if you have Venmo and the.
Just at Eleanor hyphen.
No. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Underhill.
Eleanor Underhill at Venmo.
Yeah.
And then on PayPal.
Underhill Eleanor at gmail.com.
So you can go to either of those sites and.
I am gonna share the money though.
We're splitting it. We're splitting it 90-10.
Wait,
so
who gets 90?
You do.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So it's yeah. Let's see. Do people understand that? I think so.
How's everybody doing? Y'all doing all right? I know we are in the pretty deep into this stay home, stay safe.
Stay sane.
But the stay sane is the challenge, and we feel you. We really feel like we're losing it. Sometimes we are we jump into spontaneous jumping jacks.
Good way to burn off.
Mania.
Ultra fast, as fast as
you can
can.
go.
Hurt yourself. No, just kidding.
Don't hurt yourself.
All
right, we're gonna do another new one.
Speaking of having fun.
Yes, this one's called "Didn't We Have Fun?" It's gonna be the lead-off track on the new album, and really excited about it. This is a very different version, acoustic version, of course. So we're gonna try it out. It wasn't always easy. I did some things wrong. I guess I did it for the songs. Didn't think it'd take so long. Didn't think too much at all. We just barely knew what we were doing. Just trying to get a show in. No one can say we didn't try. Montana hailstones, Missouri floods, American dive bars and Irish pubs. Remember that time when you couldn't stop laughing? I took it all for granted. Rounding through the same old grooves, I put them out, we put them out too. No one can say we didn't try. No one can say we didn't try. Didn't we have fun? Didn't we love the road we were on? Didn't we have fun? Didn't we have fun? Didn't we have fun? Didn't we
That's another new one. That also doesn't have a title. See-through skin, maybe? The boy with the see-through skin. Something like that. So
It's in G sharp. Is it?
it's in E major.
I know very little about music theory.
I mean, they're heavily related keys.
They gotta be.
So we're gonna play another. We're playing quite a few tunes from Eleanor's new album. So the Get Right Band has an album coming out. This is unrelated. I just want to tell you. I just interrupted myself talking about Eleanor to talk about myself.
Classic.
The Get Right Band has a new album coming out on May 23rd. And we have a bunch of cool stuff coming up before then. Actually, just this Sunday, we're going to be putting out a new music video that was made in quarantine. And then... Yeah,
That thing?
the animation thing.
The stop motion-ish thing?
Yeah.
That thing is so cool.
But anyways, what I was wanting to say is that Eleanor has an album, a solo album with a bunch of great musicians coming out June 28th.
Yes.
And we're playing a few songs from it, and this next one, Engelhard, is another one. I think it's one of the hits, so to speak.
An unlikely hit.
It's a weird one, but people like it.
I want to dedicate this tuning session to Bob Means.
Bob Means loves to listen to a tuning session. Hey, speaking of dedicating stuff, it's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, sister.
Happy birthday!
And happy birthday, other sister, who just had a birthday a week or so
Wow,
ago.
they are right back to that.
Yeah, I don't know if they're watching, but hi guys.
Alright. Okay.
Happy birthday, everyone.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
Eleanor had a birthday recently. I had a birthday recently.
Yep. It's true. Alright.
Ate a lot of cake. I could talk about cake for a while if you're not tuned. No, you're ready.
You can talk about cake.
No, please.
Alright. Here we go. Buzzards fly around and an old man sits in his yard by 5 large garbage bags of soda cans. His crooked truck now corrodes from riding down these flooded roads. The windows are open to the windy land. Houses propped up from the ground, rusted barns falling down, red buds and pitch black mud hurtle from the sea. And loblolly pines and yucca plants in the woods, and climbing yellow jessamine vines upon the trees. Oh, on the way to Engelhard, on the way to Engelhard, special that I feel here. But little can be done. There's no borders beneath the suns. All I do is kiss the ground and come back. Just a little more, then you're gonna see it more. When you open up this door, don't say that you were not warned. You won't want to be around when this rain comes down. Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. Who's in charge? Who's making the laws? Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. We've got some things we need to talk about. Can't you see that we don't stop? Anytime that those on top push down, we just push back up. And someday soon we will erupt. You won't want to be around when your wall comes down. Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. Who's in charge? Who's making the laws? Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. We've got some things we need to talk about. One fire from the sky, never gonna see that single light. Whole world ablaze, better believe they're gonna be amazed. One man turn around, is never gonna bring the castle down. But every man ablaze, better believe they're gonna be amazed. Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. Who's in charge? Who's making the laws? Who's in charge? Take me to the boss. We've got some things we need to talk about. I'm gonna reset this What happened?
Instagram.
into that. But it's a song that Silas really likes a lot, and he's been working on.
You can start without me if you want. I'm almost there.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep.
Control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so very special. I wish I was special. So very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Gotta take a breath after that one. It's a heavy song. I think those are some of the best lyrics ever written. The chorus is strong, but the verses are genius. Heavy stuff. Radiohead, they're a dark band.
Yeah, but I imagine most people can relate.
Mm-hmm.
If not all the time, some of the time. Feeling like a real weirdo. Well, there's a hole in my heart where the wind blows in. I listen mic.
Yeah, I can't. Every time we practice that song, my goal is to play quieter, but I can't play quietly on that song.
Well, I'm glad you feel inspired.
It gets me all jacked up.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hearing some of your influences on that song.
Oh yeah, like who?
Well, who are your influences? Like, I'm thinking of like, well, I'm almost hearing a little Django-y stuff, kind of.
I love me some Django Reinhardt, that's for sure.
Is it the key that brings that out, or is it? What's
Yeah,
going on there?
it's a little bit. It's the chord progression.
Sweet.
It's that kind of like Latin-y, gypsy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Are we really at our last song?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
we're at our last song.
What time is it? Oh my God, we're so good on timing. I think is it 4 on the dot?
I don't know.
I
can't see that far.
We can't see.
We're gonna play one more song and then put our instruments down and do a little chat about music, and creativity, which we realize may not be interesting to everyone. So feel free to tune out if you want. But for those who want to stick around, we think it'll be cool. And thanks again for tuning in. And you can, if you want, you can throw something in the tip jar. Obviously, we can't play live shows, so that's why we're doing this kind of thing. And putting out the virtual tip jar on Venmo and PayPal. It should be up there somewhere. If you don't know how, just ask, and some kind soul will explain it.
And yeah, I think a shout out to all the essential workers that are still out there working, and thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
You guys are our modern day heroes, and we thank you. And we know a bunch of you are in our close friend circle and family, and it's just pretty awesome. It's humbling to know the work you all are doing right now. So thank you so much. And we hope this music brings you some joy and some respite.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so we're going to do one more song that is a Pink Floyd song, and it's called Wish You Were Here, because we wish you were here. We really miss the connection we have with you all and our fans. I realized after doing the last live stream that I almost don't feel well if I don't perform.
Yeah.
And after I performed, even though it was virtually, I felt that like, oh, now I feel normal again. Now I feel, so there's something within performers and musicians, and I'm sure theater folks and actors, that it feeds our soul to perform and to play for you. So thank you so much for being fans and for being in the audience and just sharing, letting us do our thing, and you're a big part of that. So we wish you were here, y'all.
our show. We're gonna transition now to
A podcast.
a podcast. We're gonna interview each other, talk about music.
I'm scared.
Just seeing what people are saying. Oh my God, Tori's watching from ER.
Yeah. Oh, take Tori.
Hi, Tori.
Mwah, mwah.
Jesse says you're a hero. I assume he's talking about us and not Tori. Thank you. You're so right. I'm gonna ask first if that's okay.
All right, let's do it.
Also, worth mentioning. I've been thinking about chatting with folks about creativity. This is kind of the first chance to do that. But on Tuesday, I'm gonna get on Instagram Live and chat with Julian Dreyer, who's the chief engineer at Echo Mountain here, Echo Mountain Studios, recording studios, and talk to him about engineering and producing and creativity and how his job involves creativity, and just a real casual kind of chat interview thing. But that's Tuesday at 6:30 on the Get Right Band's Instagram page and Echo Mountain's Instagram page. Anyways, all right, Eleanor, thank you for joining us. Of the many different hats that you wear in music, you play banjo, you sing, you write songs, you produce, you engineer. You're obviously the entrepreneur, business person that we all have to be. Is there one of those things that you consider yourself above all else, or that gives you that you feel the most connected to, or gives you the most joy?
Well, I think that for a long time, it was a songwriter. I think that was, I thought that was my strongest skill, and this was a time when I think I was very prolific, and I was working on, I was very prolific and felt confident and tapped in to songwriting, and I have always struggled with being wanting to be a better musician, wanting to be a better singer than I am. However, there are days now that I feel like my focus and my joy is coming more from singing than from songwriting, and songwriting has really taken an odd turn for me, where I do not find myself sitting down to write very often at all. I'm more writing online, creating music. With the new album, of course, I'm creating music, but I'm not writing a song like here are the lyrics, here's the banjo. I don't know. It's taken on a different form, and I'm trying to respect that.
Yeah.
That the muse moves differently at different times.
Yeah, you don't want to force songwriting when the muse isn't there.
Yeah, I think I probably should force it a little more, but.
Well, do you think there's value in like, I know I've heard like writers talk about regular writers talk about write every day, even if it's bad.
Yeah.
Do you think there's value in that as a songwriter, like writing something even if it's garbage, just because it's getting those wheels turning?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge discipline component to creativity and to having more output. I think you can write a bunch of stuff just to get you tapped into that key phrase where you're like, oh no, that's a song.
Right.
Like, that's a cool.
The whole thing might not be good, but you can pull.
Right.
It's got the spark.
You gotta get through all that stuff to get to like that nugget.
Yeah.
And then you can flesh it out from there if you want.
Yeah.
But I think my last solo record was a lot about the world and the issues that I saw outside, and then this new album is a lot about the internal demons. And I don't know, I guess maybe my life is too good to write anymore, I don't feel, a lot of my younger years it was breakups and that kind of thing, and I just
Well, that leads me to another question, if I can
yeah.
keep going. I've heard you say that you mostly write songs when you're sad, or that you feel most compelled to write about like dark things as opposed to writing about happy or uplifting things. But I think, which I think a lot of people feel, I think that's a common feeling for songwriters, but I think it's interesting because I don't think you're a particularly dark or unhappy person, or leading a particularly dark or unhappy life. So do you have any like personal insight as to why you're not compelled, or as compelled? Obviously you've written happy songs, plenty of them, but you don't seem to be as driven to write about that. Do you know? Do you know why? I mean, you might not know why.
Well, I mean, when I think about the first songs I wrote, they were all expressing inner darkness, and so I think for me it's always started as a therapeutic thing. And so when I'm in a good mood, I don't need therapy.
That makes sense.
So,
I get that.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I'm feeling more moved to write music that is more groove based and more musical.
Not as lyric.
It's not as lyric
focused,
based.
even though there's lyrics, but that might not be the germ, the spark of the creative process.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it really does need to feel sincere.
Yeah.
So I don't feel, I don't know, but I might just be being lazy.
Right. Another thing I think to think about, I don't think either of us as songwriters write, we don't do a whole lot of like storytelling about that's not autobiographical. I think I think it's certainly true for me, and I think it's true for you, that it's not like everything we write is journalistic about ourselves. It's not exactly true about ourselves, but it's coming from something we feel or we experience, or exploring one notion of our internal, of our autobiographical existence. So, you know, maybe if you're not finding the darkness and the depth there, maybe a place to turn is storytelling. And like obviously we've been talking about and listening to John Prine some recently because he just passed, but he's such a stellar example of that, where he tells these stories about other people's lives that are so meaningful and deep and poetic and dark usually, but like also with a sense of humor, and I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, I also find that dark is a weird word because I don't know. It's kind of like the truth has weight, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It has light. It has lightness, and it has weight.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah. I will say, like, there is one song that is on the new album called Easier Than This, that is kind of third person.
Yeah, that's true.
Situations.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. That's a whole different way to write.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shift of perspective. But yeah, that leads me to my question for you.
Please.
Which is, I'll lead off by saying that since, COVID-19 and quarantine and everything that is going on right now, I've been having this realization of, I've been forming a new relationship with what it means to be a musician and what my role is.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see for you, what has the pandemic, the recent events, have they reframed your perspective on being a musician and maybe just the artist's role, if you want to open it up bigger?
Right. I mean, to be totally honest, it's not something I have reflected on. I mean, I can right now. I don't know that it's changed too much for me because I guess I'm still thinking about this as a pretty temporary thing, which, you know, obviously none of us really know how long this is going to go on. And, you know, we have had conversations where, you know, we heard a news show saying, you know, vaccine wouldn't come for 3 or 4 years, and that things wouldn't get back to normal for that long. In which case, you know, it would require doing some serious reevaluation about my role as an artist, and also very seriously about my ability to make money as an artist, because for my band, I mean, the vast majority of creative work that I do is with the Get Right Band, and, you know, for the Get Right Band, and I think for any band or musician at that level of career, you know, 99% of our income comes from live shows. So, and I love live shows. So from both a creative and a financial standpoint, you know, it is time to start rethinking this stuff. And like, I have been trying to think about how to do video. Obviously, I'm really into making videos and music videos, and my bandmates are too. And we've done some kind of like, you know, we've done some work together from home, you know, filming ourselves. We put out a social distancing song, and it's like just some promotional stuff. So I've been trying to think about like how to stay creative with this in this time, and especially how to stay creative with my bandmates who I can't see and can't work on stuff with together, but I much prefer working on stuff with them. Like I'm really not a solo artist, you know. I never have been, and when I was many years ago, I didn't like it. So, you know, I'm really a band guy. So this is a hard time for a band guy.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. That only sort of answered your question.
Well, I think for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you always sort of have the audience in mind. You write your songs. It's not. It's very much a community-minded thing, like getting right. You know,
Yeah.
it's about bringing in people and making their world and their life a little better.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
that is
definitely part
kind of
of it.
woven into your whole reason for being.
Yeah, it's definitely part of it, and that's one of the things I like about being in a band for so long, is that being in the same band for so long is that I know our audience, and I have a good sense of them. Obviously, some of that has been cultivated by what we do, and they like what we do. So, you know, it's sort of a self-serving or a self-generating group where they like us and I like them, and, you know, that feeds off each other. But same goes with my bandmates, where I know as a songwriter, I know the kinds of things that excite them. I know the kinds of things that they excel at.
Right.
So I have them and the audience in mind. I don't so much have like necessarily a greater audience like in mind, in terms of, you know, could this song, if I did this a little differently, could this song reach 1 million people instead of our fan base? I mean, I might think about that kind of late in the process, like in the production process or something. But I do think about our fans and my bandmates, and how all those people will like or not like something.
Yeah, because I think for me, for me, I, you know, with my new solo album, I feel like I did it for me.
Yeah.
You know, and had to at one point make that choice that half of my fans are not gonna like it.
Yeah.
You know, but after the perspective that I'm gaining in this global crisis, I feel so much more compelled to do just what my fans want. It's weird.
The opposite of what you did.
Yeah, like I'm excited,
Right.
but it was very inward. It was a very inward process where, and I don't think some people are gonna like some of it.
Yeah.
I think some people will love it.
Yeah.
But I think also, I don't know, I just feel more connected to like great gratitude and just feeling that how intimately we are connected.
Right. Well, I did want to talk about how your solo albums. So Eleanor, for anyone who doesn't know, Eleanor has been playing in a band called Underhill Rose for over a decade.
10 years, yeah, 2009.
Which is a kind of folky country Americana group, and then she put out a solo album 2 years ago or a year ago or something, and has another one coming. And the solo albums are pretty radically different from Underhill Rose. They're a lot more pop and experimental, and a lot heavier like beats and drums and stuff, much less folky. So I did want to talk about how different they are, and she still plays in Underhill Rose. So, do you feel like was it, first of all, I guess, was it scary to come out with a solo album where you'd been building up this one particular fan base on a particular genre for over a decade, and then you are dropping something so different on them? And do you think that, I guess you're saying you think half your audience won't like this new album, which I don't think is true, but do you think that your fans wind up in two disparate camps? There's the Underhill Rose fans, and there's the new fans, fans of the new albums, the new solo albums, or do you think people are more eclectic than that?
I do think people are eclectic. I think some people are eclectic.
It's a Venn diagram.
Yeah, I think there's some people that you get weird and you lost them.
Yeah. Whereas I'm the opposite.
Right, and the way what I'm into lately too, also, it feels like you have to do something different for me to be like, okay, now I want to listen. Right. Because
we've heard.
Yeah.
We've heard the.
But a lot of people, they just want to hear. What they know.
Classic stuff.
Right. Which I get. I get that. I guess it could be a different moods thing.
Well, was it scary to put that first album out?
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was almost paralyzing to the point where I couldn't do it because I was so scared. That it was Navigate the Madness. It was, the working title was Into the Unknown, because I felt like I didn't know where I was going and what the repercussions would be, because
in terms of possibly losing fans,
and I was producing and engineering it, so if I dropped the ball on the singing, the writing, the producing, the engineering, I could drop the ball on any of those things, it would make the whole thing sing.
There was no team.
There was no team, so it was very isolated.
There were musicians.
Yeah,
but driving the whole thing.
Fantastic asphalt musicians.
Yeah.
Always, but no, it was terrifying, and it's just a weird thing where if you want to be business minded, you want to cater to a certain genre and a certain path, and probably your established connections, right? And so to jump to a different genre and a different path, it was kind of. It felt like career suicide at times. Wow, is this really worth throwing all that away?
Right.
But I do think that there are some people, who definitely maybe we're not Underhill Rose fans, but they like, the Eleanor Underhill stuff and the Eleanor and Friends stuff. And for me, it's just come down to this deep desire to reflect back as sincerely and creatively all of my musical influences.
Yeah.
And those are all over the place. They're Enya, and they're Dr. Dre, and they're everything in between, so. And
there's also the fact of how playing in disparate groups support each other. How you are, I know when you've been playing a bunch of Eleanor and Friends shows, or working a lot on the solo album, it's a great breath of fresh air to go play an Underhill Rose album, and then vice versa. If you've been doing a lot of Underhill Rose, it's a nice breath of fresh air to do something with that's more rockin' or whatever. So
absolutely.
That's not reflecting on the fans, but it might make you stronger a stronger, more happy, giving performer in each band.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's always the goal is you have to be sincere to yourself. You have, so that you can be happy, so that you can show up and be authentically happy and present in what you're doing, rather than thinking, I'm unhappy or I want to be doing something else.
Right.
You know, you got to do it.
Like when I play solo.
Right, you don't like that.
I don't like it at all. I mean, I have no interest in it, and I've done it. You know, I did it for years. I played solo. This is before the Get Right band, even before Soulgrass Rebellion, the band before that. I was playing solo just because that was an easy way to get gigs, and I didn't have bands at the time, and I was never happy. It was so boring for me.
Yeah.
I know it's not for other people, but for me it was just. And every once in a while, somebody asks me to do a solo thing or a songwriter in the round thing, and you know, I'll do one once every 3 years and go, I hate that. That sucked.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do that again until like 3 years later when I've forgotten that I don't want to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a question for you.
Hit me.
How is this
Is
boring
anyone
as
still
hell?
watching?
Is this
There's some people watching.
Is this the most boring thing y'all have ever seen? All right, it's 4:37. All right.
People are saying things.
Y'all
I can't see what
y'all
you're
are
saying, but I
cool.
assume you're saying this is fascinating.
Ha!
Thank you.
I see a little Lee Glass, a little Elliot Schwartz. What's up? Man, my vision is just.
We're old. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. I had a couple questions, but let me just see if I can. All right, I'm just gonna jump. Just jump right in.
Do it.
What still mystifies you?
About music? or in life?
Let's do about music.
Um,
It could be about the industry, music theory.
Oh man, there's a fair amount. I mean, there's a lot in the industry, but I don't think that's super interesting. Except just to say, if the music industry if it didn't mystify me, I would be much more successful than I am. You know, if I understood it better, this is not where I would be at in my career. Though there's many things I love about where I'm at. You know, it's not the ultimate goal, but creatively and musically, I would say the biggest thing is other artists' work. And I mean, we finished with Pink Floyd, so I'll just bring them up. But there's a lot of artists where I just am still, you know, decades into listening to Pink Floyd on a very regular basis and very heavily dissecting their music, watching the documentaries, you know, analyzing the lyrics. They still mystify me, like really just basically down to the question of how could they be that good? Like how could an album like The Wall exist? Like, you know, just how could perfection on that level have been created? that I think is mystifying. Even though there's a lot I understand a lot of work went into it, a lot of rewriting, re-editing, you know, but so many things, including the seemingly mystical, have to line up for something like that to happen.
What do you think that is?
Well, I actually have thought recently about like the elements that make a great recording. So there's the songwriting, which you could break into music and lyrics, but let's just call it one thing. And if they're not both amazing, then it's not amazing. There's the initial performance when the sounds get captured. There's the recording quality, the engineering, and I'll include in that the mixing. And then there's the production, which, you know, could be, you know, overlap some with engineering, but also the choices of certain tones and effects and layering and stuff like that. And each one of those, I think, could be broken down into so many subcategories. And to get songwriting and performance on the level of a band like Pink Floyd, I think a lot of things have to just come together with the chemistry of the band, and some of it is just luck. Like, you know, Nick Mason he's a great drummer for Pink Floyd. Like, I don't know, it's just interesting to think about how Pink Floyd without, like, if I heard Nick Mason by himself, I would say, like, Sure, fine. He's a good drummer. But I think if I heard Pink Floyd without Nick Mason, it would be like, no, this doesn't work. This requires Nick Mason, you know?
Yeah.
So there is, and the Beatles have
Yeah,
kind of that.
I was about to say.
That too, where it's like Ringo's such a quirky, weird drummer, and in some ways he's not that great, but in some ways he's like the best drummer ever because he plays the coolest stuff possible on every song. And, you know, some of that is just, yeah, it is kind of mystical. And then like where the band's head place and spirit is at, I think that plays
How much
in.
do you think the internal spirit or soul of an artist, how important is that in terms of their ability to capture people's hearts and ears and, you know?
I think it's really important, but I also think there are like ways to, cheat's not the right word, but there's workarounds. Like, I think especially live, that spirit is very important, and the amount that an artist can be in it, that's kind of been my obsession for the last 5 years or so, is how in it can you be, how present can you be when you're performing live. I think it plays in the studio too, but not in the same way. And for me, it was seeing bands live like Dr. Dog and the Wood Brothers, where of course I don't know what's going on in their heads, but what I feel as an audience member is that nothing is going on in their heads, that they're just like in a meditative, deep place, focused on the music, focused on the emotion, and just living in the experience. And that's, at least for me, I think for most people, that's way harder than it sounds. To be fully present. I mean, that's meditation. Like, meditation is how much can you block out the rest of the world and be fully present in the here and now, or on your breathing, or on your music. And it's, it's something that people train for years and years to do because it's hard. I think in the studio it's a little different though, but
yeah.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
You want to maybe just do one more each or something?
One more each, that sounds good.
We'll wrap this up here soon. Oh, there's still people there. That's God bless you.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna ask you this one because I know it's hot on your mind. How do you know when a song or an album is finished?
Never. Well, when you're too sick of it to deal with it anymore.
There's some real truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's really awesome to have a band and a team working on something. I come to you when I'm working on my solo stuff, come to my bandmates as well. I think, it's a mix between, can you live with it? How tired of it are you? And does it sound, is it fully realized?
Yeah.
I think I could tinker endlessly forever, probably.
It's so different too, because you and I, in the current albums that we're working on or have recently worked on, most of it is happening at home.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a studio, a lot of times you just run out of money. Like, our studio albums, I feel like sometimes have been done not because it's fully realized, but because it's close, it's good enough, and it's like, we don't have any more money. I can't spend $2,000 more on this.
Right.
But at home, that doesn't come into play.
That's right.
Nearly as much.
That's right, and that's why you have to set deadlines.
Yeah.
And try and follow them.
Yeah.
But it's a weird balance, because you might have a deadline that is somewhat arbitrary.
Right.
And you can go over it.
Totally.
And you've already worked on something for 2 years, and you're like, well, man, if I don't get this one thing that's bugging me, like, why not fix it?
Right.
And push everything back one day. But obviously at some point, you gotta, I don't know, I think it's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
I would say that is something I struggle with.
I know.
But, yeah, that's exactly why you asked. It's a leading question. Let me just check my notes.
We can stop there.
No, I just want to see if I have one more. So, I guess, what artists are inspiring you these days, and how do you think they may influence your future compositions?
Yeah, a lot, man. I feel like I listen to so much great music.
You do.
Let me think about what's most inspiring to me right now. Broken Bells is very inspiring to me. They're a group made up of Danger Mouse, who's a producer, and I think James Mercer, the lead singer of the Shins. And it's just the two of them, and they do tour, but it's primarily a studio group, I think. And it was definitely part of unlocking my thinking about this newest Get Right Band album that's coming out soon, because I was feeling like the songs I was writing for the album and the way the muse for me, and I think also for Jesse and JC, my bandmates, was pulling me towards something slightly more pop than previous albums, and was also pulling me toward something weirder and more psychedelic. And Broken Bells was a great example of how to marry those things. It's very, they've got some like straight up hits, radio friendly as can be, hits that are super cool and psychedelic and weird. So that was definitely a big inspiration recently. And then I'm obsessed with Run the Jewels, even though they're like a hard, intense rap group, rap duo that is nothing like the music I make.
What do you think you like about that?
Man, they just kind of have the whole package. Like, I think one of the things I like about them so much is that they're new rap that doesn't suck. Like, because there's a lot of hip hop that I like from the 90s in particular, and I guess early 2000s, but I do feel like the vast majority of hip hop that I hear today I don't like at all. Like, I think it's gotten so all the stuff with the like robot voice, yeah, yeah, it's just so much of it sounds exactly the same.
I actually don't mind that at all, but we were just joking.
So I like how Run the Jewels comes out, and their music their music could not have been made in the 90s. Like, it's very modern.
Super modern, yeah.
It's modern. It's got tinges of like I would say even dubstep and just very electronic, aggressive music. But they rap. They don't rap like contemporary rappers. I mean, they've both been around for such a long time. Killer Mike and LP have had careers for at least 20 years, so they are old school-ish rappers, but they're doing something very modern, and I think that's what's so cool about them. But let me think of one other thing that's really inspiring me these days. I think, oh yeah, she's hinting.
I know
she's
what
whispering
they
to me.
are.
That's true.
Man,
I forgot.
This is kind of silly that I even asked.
Well, they don't know. I'm obsessed with a group called Skin Shape, which is really just this one. I think it's just one guy basically in England. But also Poolside, I'll say. Those are two bands. They're kind of similar in a way. Poolside calls their music daytime disco, and it's like, it's real groovy. It's got a little bit of an electronic vibe, both of them, but it's not like techno. But there's some of that vibe, and there's some dub vibe to it with just kind of like ear candy and kind of psychedelic stuff. And yeah, they've both been really influential to me. I would, if you don't know them, check out Poolside and Skin Shape. They got a bunch of stuff on Spotify, and yeah, it's cool. You got some recent inspirations you want to tell us about? You just listen to the stuff that I'm inspired by.
I just listen to
I
just listen to Enya.
You just listen to
That's
Enya.
all I listen to, and some I don't know. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel I'm one of those comfort creatures
Right.
where I like to go back to the stuff that is already familiar
Yeah.
because I know I'm gonna like it. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way with movies
You are.
and TV shows.
Right.
Like, I just want to watch the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I need that, like.
But I make you listen to a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Which you seem to enjoy.
I do. No, I really like Skin Shape. I do like Poolside. Yeah. No, I dig it. Stefan Harris and Blackout. I think I was listening to him for a
Oh
minute.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
some wild
super
stuff.
cool. It's like jazz. I mean, I love jazz and I
Yeah.
love experimental jazz, but I've been working on my own damn album.
Yeah.
That's all I've been listening to. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
How about if we're talking about musical inspirations, let me just talk for. I'll keep it brief, for 1 second.
Reel it in. Reel it in. Did
About-
you have some chai? Did you have some chai?
Of course. Let me just bring up Soul Coughing because
Oh yeah, I love soul coffee.
I somehow
So
missed
awesome.
them in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'd heard like their couple of hits and was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then I came across them from an interview maybe 3 years ago, and I basically didn't listen to any other artist for about a year. They're hugely influential on me now, even though they're a recent discovery. They're just so yeah, Soul Coughing, check them out. They're amazing.
But if people actually, let me retract what I said. If people do want to check out my influences, and if you want to get primed for the new solo record, check out any of my Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
Mixtapes 1 through 4, I think. And those are just songs from all eras and, you know, modern and retro music that I think those are my influences. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all there.
Yeah. Check it out.
Enya and Dr. Dre.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank
you so much. We love you guys, and
Yeah.
I hope you're hanging in there. And
Appreciate you.
shout out to our bandmates who we miss very, very much.
What's going on with my hair here?
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
It looks weird.
you haven't had it cut for.
I haven't had a haircut in a long time. All right, we're gonna get off this thing. Thank you guys all so much
Bye, y'all.
for tuning in.